Hello, friends, and welcome to Empower You 2 podcast. I'm your host, Natasha Paris, and I'm excited because you are in the building with me. You can be anywhere in the world, but you have chosen to be here with me, and I am so humbled and appreciative. Let me tell you about this show. Each and every single week, we continue to empower you to greatness that is truly going to help you, whether you are a person that have experienced a heartbreak, have gone through a divorce, or have endured levels of trauma of any kind, or you're just a person trying to rebuild their life and themselves, and now you are finally ready to live a life full of abundance, joy, and peace, then this show is for you. So with that said, thank you again for being here. I am extremely grateful. I'm excited to be on this journey with you because together we are empowered for greatness. You ready? Let's go. Hello, it's your girl, Natasha Paris, the empowerment strategist, as well as the mental health therapist expert. And I am super excited, as always, to bring to you the Empower You 2 podcast. And I have, oh my goodness, two beauty queens on the left and the right. And we're going to talk about supporting women because they represent BWEL organization, which is an organization that supports women in the C-suite. And if you don't know what a C-suite is, it's like VPs, presidents, CEOs, CFOs, COOs, and everything above that. So with that said, let's come together and let's talk about what BWEL is and your positions in the BWEL organization and what is your mission. And then we're going to talk about the struggles of supporting women, you know, like yourself and other women who may not necessarily look like you, but then also what are the best achievements and successes? And maybe you could share some stories. That would be awesome. So
wonderful.
Let's talk.
Yes, let's talk. Let's get to it.
Let's get to it. Okay, so tell us a little bit about what does BWEL stand for?
Absolutely.
The organization, its mission, and I know you are the executive director.
Yes, I am the proud executive director, the second executive director since the inception of Black Women Education Leaders. That is the name of BWEL.
That's the acronym?
That's the acronym.
Okay.
We were founded in 2020 during the height of the pandemic by our founder, Latrice Younger, who was the only African-American woman in her then school division in 2019. And so when we broke for the pandemic, when the governor at the time closed schools for 2 weeks and then came back and said, we're closing for the rest of this school year, her colleagues in her school division had a cohort to go to. They had a group. I remember her saying they actually had created a group chat with themselves. And
when you say colleagues, because we're not only
her colleagues of her Caucasian colleagues, who of course were white, male and female, they created a group to continue to support each other as principals and assistant principals and central office leaders within the school division. Within the school division, all right? And with her being a Black female assistant principal, I remember her saying to me, but I'm not invited. And I said, invite yourself.
Oh, she wasn't invited?
She was not included in the group. And I said, you invite yourself. You are an assistant principal in one of the school divisions. You are a leader. And so I need you to just text, email, and find out, I didn't get the link. Can you send me the link so I can be a part of the group? Because you are a leader in that school division. And out of that conversation, and then also having a conversation with our girlfriend, who was also a woman of color, who was also aspiring to be a leader at that time during the pandemic, out of those conversations became BWEL. And she started over just virtual conversations about supporting us through the pandemic because we were talking about what other people were not talking about, and that was mental health for Black women leaders. We were talking about the mental health and that space for students, right? But not for Black women in leadership. And we began talking about the nurses the caregivers, right? And so we were thrown in this pandemic, COVID-19, that we had never experienced before. And we not only saw the real impact of public education, and not only what we were doing, but what we were not doing for Black and brown children before the pandemic.
Wow, so it highlighted
the lack of resources, the lack of equity, and the lack of understanding how social justice impacts how we provide services to our McKinney-Vento students, to our students with disabilities, our students who have not been found, our students who suffer with chronic absenteeism.
So BWEL was founded as a result of a void that was...
A void.
Right?
A void. Not only a void, but also a void with Black women supporting each other.
Okay, let's talk about it. Okay, so tell us who you are, because you're part of the BWEL organization, and we want to really have our audiences gain some golden nuggets from just this conversation, because it's a conversation that needs to be had.
Absolutely.
So tell us about you.
Well, I am Danica Coleman-Milner, the National Treasurer for BWEL. And I wasn't on the front end. Latrice called me, she was like, please, please, please join, because we would have conversations about our struggles. And so she was like, you need to join my organization. I was like, okay, I'm coming. I'm coming.
Sure.
And it was like, D, I need you.
Yes. That's her.
And I was like, I'll do anything for you. And it became a true place where I was like, oh my gosh, I should have done this when she asked me the first time.
What made you say that?
Because I found a place to where we all had a common denominator.
And what was that common
Black women in education that have come across situations where we either have been left out, not heard. And I was like, okay, it's not just our area. It's not just the state of Virginia.
Yes.
It's in Massachusetts. Yes. It's in Illinois. It's all over the country. And so being in that common space and realizing the struggles that we have is common ground for us. And we came together and we supported each other and continue to do that.
That's amazing.
Yes, it is.
That is so impactful.
Yes.
Absolutely.
So talk about, what did you see as it relates to supporting women within education, particularly Black women? What were the struggles that they were having? Can you share that?
Trust.
Was
one of the intricate bullet nuggets that we were talking about, and we continue to talk about at BWEL, is trusting each other as Black women, because as Dee just indicated, the common denominator, we had a common denominator, and that was the challenges and barriers. But within those challenges and barriers, I am that leader that will, let's now unpack those challenges and barriers, because within that, there is some stuff that we need to address. And one of those things that we need to address within that stuff is how Black women approach each other and how we show up for each other, and then our own perceptions of each other. And that's a conversation that I make us, in a positive way, address, because we can be an organization filled with Black women, but how are we loving each other, and how are we trusting each other, and how are we being, honest with each other?
That resonates with me as a clinician, because what I often hear is that women of color, and just women period, find themselves not trusting each other. Where do you think that comes from?
We just want to know, are your intentions true? So if you're guiding me, are you guiding me in a direction where I can succeed, or are you guiding me so you could get ahead of me? So having those authentic conversations like, look, I'm here for you. This is information I'm sharing with you. Right. You can take it or leave it, but I'm here to support you. It comes from a genuine place. So once you start to build that trust that Shonda was talking about, then we can move forward. We built this village, as I've shared,
But we know that trust is coming as a clinician. I know that I often go beyond the surface. Because we want to be able to understand the root causes of why women do not trust each other. What do you believe? And I can tell you why I believe based on, my clients and my own experiences. What do you believe have been the root causes, or at least one root cause why women do not trust each other?
Black feminist theory. It is a theory. Okay, we have a theory. Black women have a theory.
Okay, yes.
Black feminist theory. Okay, and out of that theory...
What's the theory for those who don't know what it is?
Well, Black feminist theory is a theory that describes the struggles and perceptions of Black women. And then within that struggle and the description of that, the perceptions that society have of Black women. And then also the perception that Black women have of each other. And so we are, I believe, and through that feminism theory, I believe it's always research behind a conversation.
Absolutely.
But within that, because of the enslaved mentality, it goes all the way back to how we treated each other during slavery.
And how did we treat each other during slavery?
Not with love all the time.
Because we were guided by fear.
Because we were guided by fear. And when fear implodes in your spirit, that allows space for envy and jealousy to grow. And it's like a cancer. It spreads. And then Black women who have Black daughters or who have daughters, their daughters are listening to their conversations about Black women, about other Black women. And when you're talking about what a Black woman has done to you and how they have hurt you and how they have not supported you and how they have disrespected you. Now, I'm a public official. I am a school board member who proudly represents her 6th district on the Richmond School Board.
We're so proud of you.
Thank you.
Yes,
that seats a majority board of Black women. And I am often stopped in the streets, in the community, and asked this question: why do Black women treat each other that way?
You're asked that.
I'm asked that question. And my response is, I am going to model a different behavior.
Yes.
I am leading a different behavior because you will not see that televised in me.
There we go.
And so it does take one, but people are taking notice. And oftentimes they celebrate that behavior because that's their expectation of us.
Oh, absolutely. We see it on the Housewives. We see it all the time, right?
But see, that's another facet to this. Because our young Black and brown girls, and no disrespect to the money-making sisters, okay? That's no disrespect.
No.
But what I'm saying is, can we have a reality TV show that celebrates each other?
Absolutely.
But see, is that going to make money?
Probably not.
Because we are pushing against the status quo.
Yes.
And so as a former principal, assistant principal, former classroom teacher, I used to see Black females go at it often in school. And I would take them and I would say, we're going to have a conversation about your behavior.
Yes.
And you don't know how to love your sister because you don't know how to love yourself.
And so so when we're talking about supporting Black women, supporting women, we're finding that under that surface, we're finding that it is fear and lack of security or esteem.
Sure. And to
love.
some degree, it's like being brainwashed, though. We've subscribed to these ideals.
Okay.
We spoke these words, and we are instilling those words. So if you're saying that Black women are aggressive, then you subscribing to that, and you're believing that these are the actions of Black women. And so sometimes you get in situations where it starts to play out. So we need to stop subscribing to what society has said.
Absolutely.
That's right.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Prophecy of what you hear, you become.
Exactly.
That's right.
See?
Exactly.
You become.
Exactly.
Right. So that is a barrier. So that's one barrier. What's another barrier that you've come in contact with doing this work, getting women to move out of that default mechanism of not supporting one another? What would be a barrier that causes them to say, I don't trust you? Because you said trust was the one. What's another one?
I'll say insecurity. Okay. Going back to the statement that I already made.
Sure.
In the spaces that we've been in and that we're a part of, they tell us that we're not good enough. So, and
they tell us
that we're not good enough. And so believing in that.
Yes.
And not speaking otherwise. Yes, you deserve to be here. Yes, you have what it takes to do all of those things. I'm not going to listen to what is being said. So it's the insecurities that we carry and not believing. So step into your power. Take your space. This is my space. And then allow the space to conform with you. And bring others along as you step up.
Oh, I love that.
Supporting other ethnic groups and racial categories is always uplifting another brand. What Black women don't do well is ask for support from those other groups. Because see, white women know how to rally behind each other.
They do.
White men know how to rally and talk about who got next. Our brothers, our Black and brown brothers, they know how to do that well. Who has next? You could have a Black male who's been a teacher for 2 years. You could have a Black female who's been a teacher for 12 years.
Okay.
And she has yet been promoted to an assistant principal position.
Why is that?
Because we know how to support other groups well.
Okay.
So we have to talk about each other in spaces that we don't occupy. Okay. In other words, I have to promote D when D is not in my presence. I have to be able to support you and talk about your work when you're not in my presence. Because who has next? And we also need support from those other groups. Show up for us.
Yes.
Talk about our greatness when we're not in the room.
Yes.
But we also, volume. It speaks volume. So we need a cheerleader, right? One of my best mentors is Travis Phelps, who hired me to be his assistant principal in a high school. And one thing he would often say was that you will not do that to her.
When you're not in the
when I'm not in the room.
With that.
I have her back. She is a great leader. I am a better principal because of her.
Look at that.
And we still talk to this day.
And so you're saying, using him as an example,
absolutely,
we as women should be doing the same thing
for each other
when we're not in the presence of each other.
Absolutely.
I like that.
And he also helped me how to navigate those waters of a white man. Yes. That was one of the best lessons.
Talk about, I'm curious.
One of the best lessons. One of those nuggets, right?
Talk about it, yes.
He would often share with me the fear, but love they would have because of our strength. And how they would trust us to move areas of academic and mentor other women in the building. Because they didn't quite know how to have those conversations with Black women as a white man.
Okay.
But taught me how to master code switching.
Oh, yes.
Because not everyone can understand your level of security that you have. Yes. And I just remember him telling me, Shonda, when you walk into a room, people like, damn. Like,
I need sunglasses.
Okay. And would just sit there and be like, yeah, that's just my AP walking through. You know?
I love.
And so we need that support from our brothers and sisters of other ethnicities.
Yes.
we can place anybody in the House of U.S. Representatives because they know the strength in our voice.
Yes.
But do we know the strength in our voice?
And there lies that insecurity.
And there lies that insecurity.
Oh my goodness. So based on that, what accomplishments have you seen as an organization with the women that you've supported?
Well, one comes to mind. She's actually out of Pennsylvania. She's in Philadelphia. And she moved into a supervisory position. And so she was, I don't know if I ought to apply. I don't know if I should. And we came together at our retreat. We had a retreat, not last year, it was the year before.
2 years ago. Yep.
Came to the retreat and she was sharing that information. And all of us gallied around her, you need to take that step. And she took it and she got it.
And it's doing well. And it's doing well.
Yes, she is.
Yes, and it's
That's
doing
why
well.
I love BWEL. That's exactly
It's
why I
doing
love BWEL, because in those moments of, I don't know, your sisters come around you and yes, you can. And this is what I'm going to do to help you. What do you need?
And so that was very impactful for her because she was feeling levels of insecurity.
Yes.
Right? Some fear, right? Inadequacy, right? Not sure if she's qualified for that position, but to be surrounded by women who are already there.
Yes.
Motivating her, pushing her forward. That gave her the wind beneath her wings.
Yes, we did.
Right? That's what that sounded like to me.
And another story that we have in our organization is from our national vice president who had worked in public education for over 20 years and realized that she was dying inside. Her mental health was taking a spiral downward because of the lack of support. And she felt like she could not continue in the role because she saw such an inadequacy from supporting women of color to supporting other groups, and said, you know, we were actually on a meeting, one of our meetings, and she said, you know, I have been battling walking away from this security, this job, this title. But God is speaking to me that I have greater and to just trust him and walk out on this faith and build my own company so I can coach Black women in areas and things that I was not coached on until later in my career.
Look at that.
And is doing fabulous in her company.
Amazing.
Training, has not wanted for anything. All of her needs have been met because she trusted what God was telling her to do. But not only that, but BWEL rallied behind her and said, you got this. We have superintendents in our organization that need a different level of support sometimes because they may be the only Blackness on their dais.
Understood.
And so we're here for them. We just had a female superintendent walk away from her superintendency in a school division because she was not supported. So how can we support you find that next one?
Look at that.
But we're going to help you get that check. That's owed to you. So that's how you, so in my place of being a school board member, that's how you're going to do this.
See, I love that.
And then take your 6 months and rest mentally.
And so one of the things that I also do, in addition to my podcast, for those who don't know, is that I am a licensed clinician and I work specifically with women in this arena who are in that C-suite, who are in need of that person, right? That can really, more than just a therapist, more than just another Black woman, but being in that place where I can say to you, I can get you to that place where you are emotionally whole.
Yes.
Because that's what we're hearing on that runs through, that's that thread that runs through this whole entire conversation is that there's that emotional, mental burnout.
That's right.
That continues to happen repeatedly. And when you hear of women, like you just mentioned, who said, enough is enough. And my mental health is really in jeopardy.
That's right.
Right? And so emotional well-being is so important. So talk about that, like how that, what your take is, each of you, right? You know, what did that mean for you as you were being a part of this organization, but yet supporting others? Because you can't, you said it, right? You can't pour into someone's cup if your cup is empty.
That's right.
Right? So talk a little bit about that, why that is important for you, that emotional wellness and wholeness is essential in order for you to support the women that you're supporting in the BWEL organization.
Well, the work is necessary. We have to be there for each other. So, and the only way that you can be there for someone is because you're focusing on your mental health, your spiritual health, whether that's prayer, whether that's meditation, whether that's taking trips, whatever it is that you need to do. But it's so important because you have to be whole, because you have a purpose. All of us have a purpose. And so in order for us to fulfill that purpose, we have to be sure that we're taking care of all aspects of us, physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually. We have to care for those things.
I love that. And I'm assuming you're doing it for yourself.
I'm getting better at it.
Yeah.
I'm definitely getting better at it. Yes, absolutely. So my thing is lighting candles and meditating while I listen to music. Yeah. I also trying to get better about exercising.
Me too. So we're gonna do that together.
Yes. I'm trying to get better. I at least have figured out how best to manage my eating and things of that nature.
Sure,
so
absolutely.
And you don't think that you're going to get to that point immediately. It's small baby steps. Just take small bits
and give yourself grace.
Yes.
Grace.
I love it. Grace.
Give yourself grace.
Yes.
Just takes whatever it is. It doesn't make a difference if it's you've done your 45-minute workout. Even if you only have 10 minutes, do your 10. Yes. If you're supposed to drink a gallon of water, drink at least a half or a quarter of it. Do it more than what you did before. Yes. Take one extra step than the time before.
I love that.
Grace, I love it. Yes.
Grace is,
So tell me, grace is very necessary. So tell me, for you, in your emotional wholeness and wellness,
oh, wow. I'm doing better, particularly a child who grew through trauma and had trauma in her life on many levels. Observed her mom on a daily basis being a domestic violent relationship. One of the things that I have grown and continue to glow in and walk in is loving myself and reminding myself that, you know, if my mom knew better, she would have done better. But also healing from the experiences that I had to face as a child, and also speaking into an existence that I am the one who will and have broke these generational curses in our culture and in my family, reminding myself that I am loved, that I love, and I have a man in my life that loves and respects me and adores me. And I am unapologetic about walking in my greatness while saying to myself, I am old Grace. I am going to put 10 to 15 minutes a day and take care of myself and supporting myself at work. I'm not going to eat that Snickers bar. I'm going to walk over there and get that apple. I am going to get 3 bottles of water out of my car. I am going to intentionally go to a building and walk around the building for 30 minutes or 10 minutes or 15 minutes. I am going to be intentional about loving on my sisters at work. And so just understanding my level of needs and also Noah's a complete answer.
Setting boundaries.
Setting boundaries. And listen, I don't have to explain to you why I said no. I just said no. No, I can't this time. Thank you though, but I won't be able to.
With a smile?
Yeah, but I do mean no. And so when you come back and say, are you sure? Yes. I am. Are you? And then maybe 2 hours later, I just wanted to follow back with you to see if you had changed your mind. So when I talked to you 2 hours ago, I said no. And 2 hours later, I still mean no. And it's okay, right? Yes. And so respecting myself, loving myself, and being able to recognize when I need to be checked. All of those things are important for our well-being. And so if I want to be here 40 years later and enjoy my legacy and the work that I've done, that I need to be able to be well. Yes. So I can see it.
Be well.
Yes. Be well.
Be well.
To see it.
Yes.
And that is critically important because my grandmother's struggle, my mother's struggle, my auntie's struggle, they were their struggles.
Not yours.
Not mine.
Not yours. Well, on that note, this was amazing.
It was. Thank
and
you
I'm just so
for the space and the opportunity.
Yes.
We are so grateful to highlight an organization that we both love.
Absolutely.
Yes. I mean, it's an amazing organization. The mission of BWEL is to support women who are in need, right? We want women to know that you are not alone.
Yes.
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 We know that life will continue to life. Struggle will be struggle. But you don't have to walk that journey by yourself. And so with that said, thank you so much, Dr. Shonda. Thank you, Tamika, for
You're
being
welcome. More than welcome.
Absolutely.
And what we say, as always, we want you to be empowered for greatness because without greatness, there's no you. And without you, there's no greatness. I'm your girl, Natasha Paris. See you on the next episode. Thanks again, ladies. This is good. If you are loving this content and our time together as we become empowered for greatness and you want to connect with me more, I would love for you to come and check out my Self-Empowerment Scholars. It's my monthly empowerment sessions where we take all of the materials learned on the podcast and apply it and study it and take it to the next level. So join me over at Empower You, the letter U, 2, right? The number 2.com/join, or you can text the word empower to 571-464-6511. That's text the word empower to 571-464-6511. Also, if you've ever gained an ounce of wisdom or the episode resonated with you, I simply ask that you do 4 things. The first is I want you to subscribe right now if you have not done so already. The second is I want you to hit that 5-star button on your favorite platform. The third is I want to hear from you. I want to hear your feedback. I want to hear how it has resonated for you. In addition, the last, I want you to share this message with someone. It allows us to spread the message of empowerment to those who are desperately in need. So I look forward to seeing you on the next episode, and I want you to be what? Empowered for greatness. See you soon. Bye.